Darkness is all around us. It welcomes us. It invites us in. But through the darkness, light has come to expose it, to save us from darkness, so that we may see. Light is love. Light is truth. Light is life. Do you live in the light? Or do you dwell in the dark? Glow where the dark meets the light. This is Growth Group Unplugged.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight on this Tuesday night. It is Tuesday. That's right. It is the next to last Tuesday of the month. Yeah, next to last Tuesday of the month. We are excited to see you. Welcome in on tonight to Growth Group Unplugged, episode 307. We are in season 3. We got off to a rocky start the first few episodes, but God has sustained us. We're still here. We're still bringing you content. We're still bringing you discussions that help us grow as God will have us to discuss some things that most of the time isn't discussed much in the church. And so we're excited to join you in. If you're here for the very first time, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, you get notifications every time we go live. We welcome you here to this space on tonight. Bring the council in. Everybody say hello. Let's do a roll call real quick. We have some people out on tonight, but come on in. What up? What up? What up? I think we got to unmute some folks. There we go.
There we go.
I can hear myself now.
Right.
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up?
You know, family.
Let's get a quick roll call.
It's Taylor.
It's
Okay.
Trinity.
Yo,
Sunny tonight.
yo.
Did you say Kiana?
I think Okay. I think we got some reception problems, but we good. Could y'all hear her?
I didn't hear the first time.
Yeah, I didn't hear the first time either. She like Kiana, like it was my fault. Like I did something wrong. But nah. Good evening, council. We're down a few people once again. But, let's get into tonight's discussion. We hope everybody's had a great week thus far. And we're going to see what our discussion for tonight is going to be. Let's get the wheel up if we can. Other than that, man, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? Let's talk for a second as this thing is loading.
Good, man. Living. Feeling good.
Yeah.
Good.
I passed half of my crisis management certification. I passed the physical part. I'm waiting on results back for the written. That's why I'm so tired, because dropping people on a mat ain't for the week. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
So that.
All right, let's try to get this wheel locked in. All right, there the wheel is. And let's spin and see what tonight's topic is. Recession and the church. Recession in the church.
Oh, okay.
Trend, tell us what that mean.
What does recession in the church mean?
Yeah, what is that topic? What is that actual that question?
Can I phone a friend?
Hmm?
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, go for it. Go for what you know.
Kiana. Can I phone you?
Yeah.
Yo, what tell me, help me out.
Because I'm right here. Like, y'all, I don't know. Like, I'm somewhere else. That's literally my topic. I got this recession in the church. The church takes money, so we're in a recession. Do we not maintain our crap, or do we be responsible like God tells us and maintain our crap? And crap at the church, not crap at the church, but the church goes. It's usually the first expense to go when you're looking at a budget. Charitable work is usually the first thing that goes. So,
all right, let's pin it like this. How is the recession? How will the recession affect the church? How the recession that we're in affects the church. Let's talk a little bit about
is that's like talking about like tithes and stuff that we've already.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about that a little bit, but we haven't talked about it from a recession standpoint, I guess.
I'm broke. I ain't got it.
Yes, indeed.
I ain't got it. Nigga's broke.
All right, so Yeah, what y'all want to do? Y'all want to slide this one, or y'all want to jump in?
Yeah, let this one and talk about sex before marriage, because I've been dying to get that on the wheel. And since we live, let's see you tonight now.
That's a simple discussion. It's wrong. It's wrong.
We live now. Let's see what y'all even gonna say, because y'all be saying something behind the wall. Let's see.
He said we live now. Let's do it.
Council, what say ye?
I'm here for it.
Y'all here for it? All right, let's jump in.
Man.
All right. This your topic, Key. So
You gotta open it up.
Remarks.
give us your
Opening
opening remarks. Yeah, ain't no fun with the rabbit got the gun.
I don't know. Y'all must always have fun. Okay, we can start it off. Sex before marriage. I know what the Bible says, and I know I'm about to willfully ignore this in the Bible. I'm trying to make it sound as politically correct as possible. In that, not having sex before marriage, Bible about fornicating, I guess. I don't know what context. Two things. Reason why I question it is because it's always to women. Us women have to maintain pure temples when y'all dirty niggas can just walk, or our dirty husband can just walk in and out. But we have to have our temple here. First thing, and then the second thing is I ask Christians, okay, well, why? Well, don't have it then. Like, I understand the soul tie thing. I understand diseases. I understand all of it. Why does the Bible tell us not to have for marriage? The only thing that everybody has been able to tell me is that, okay, well, while you're having sex, you could be doing to the Lord. And I said, that argument does not hold up, but anything, I could be doing something pertaining to the Lord. When I'm at work, I could be doing. Why am I sleeping? Why do I need rest? Let me do something. That those are the main two reasons why I don't. As the expression say, take the meat, leave the bone, and I know this pertaining to something in the Bible, but I'm just speaking the truth because some of them. I need to be even.
All right.
Is she breaking up for anybody else, or is it just me?
Her signal is yellow right now. So
I was just making sure it wasn't just me.
It's not just you. All right, Tay Tay, opening remarks.
Oh Jesus.
That's what happened when y'all let Kiki pick topics.
God dang it. Okay.
We live.
I know.
Live now.
Whatever. It is what it is. Similar to Key, it's more of like I understand the concept of why you're not supposed to have sex before marriage, right? Because that's how I was raised. Like my mom was like, it's the blood covenant and it's the hymen and it's the bond between the the husband and the wife and fireworks. That's not my story. I honestly thought it was going to be for a long time. But that's no longer my story. That is very much no longer my story. and then also kind of learning, I guess, the worldly ways of it, and really understanding like my own anatomy and what all of that means. I think it's a nice concept. I definitely understand the more like the mental reason why it's important to have a kind of like he was touching on like the soul tie to somebody, because you don't realize that you're really giving of yourself when you're having sex with somebody, and to allow just anybody in there, even though they seem to be the one or like a really special person to you, even allowing somebody without you genuinely knowing them into that space of yours. At least for me, I don't know, it feels like it takes a piece of me every time. And it takes a lot to like try and regain like the piece that I gave to them, when in my head I'm like, dang, I definitely shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I didn't really know them. They didn't really know me, you know, and henceforth. But like I said, I think it's a good idea to not have sex before marriage. But realistically, I think it's more just like you have to know you, and you have to know who you're willing to give yourself up to before getting to that point.
All right. Trend, opening remarks.
What was the question?
Sex before marriage.
Why? Why
Is,
do we, or just what?
is sex before marriage really wrong?
Oh, is that what the question is? Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I just formulated that because we just say it's sex
So you
before
know,
marriage. I mean, so
um,
that's how Kiana
threw it
said.
out there. It
Sex
wasn't-
before
it-
marriage.
I think
There really wasn't a question asked.
I think about when, because I didn't really have that talk. It was just kind of understood, like, you know, you do it, you're getting kicked out type of thing. So it was just kind of like we're going to steer away from any talk about it in general. So growing up, I didn't know what is and is not. And at the time, I wasn't really thinking about who or how. I was just thinking about, like, I'm the last person in my entire school. Like, everyone talks about it, and it's just like a whole thing. So society has a, at least for me, a huge part in sex before marriage, because it's like, well, I've already done it once. It's like I can't undo it. So, you know, I'm kind of screwed from this point forward anyway in trying to not have sex before marriage. At least that's how I think about that. And that's kind of still how I think about it. Like, you've already done it 5 times. You can't undo the 5 times. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't like renege. Like, you just can't do it. It's like, I think that it's well, it's already done. So there's no point in me trying to reach for that anymore. There's nothing else I could do. Now I'm also the youngest one in the entire thing, so that's all I have. But I don't, like, I've already done the damage. You know what I'm saying? So there's not really. I mean, I can ask for forgiveness, but it's like,
Do I really mean
I'm
it?
renege. I'm gonna renege. I don't know. That's all I gotta say, Paige. I don't really have anything else.
All right.
I'm waiting for the OGs. Go ahead.
I think we got Kiki back.
The OGs.
All right, Sonny P.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna let you handle the biblical ramifications of this, brother. That's on you today. Oh,
That's your
Thanks.
uh,
I said thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'll be back. I got support. Um, no, I mean, this is really a common conversation. Um, where we're talking about going with this, I don't know because it wasn't really preference. However, right or wrong, um, will it happen? And there's a resounding yes for the majority of people in this modern time, because it's no longer, and at some point it was a cultural standard, but it has been henceforth for the longest time that I can remember, kind of not reverenced anymore. Um, chastity isn't usually, it's funny, chastity isn't usually sought after until a particular person has went through the situation and been burnt from the situation. Then they decide that they should uh, try a vow of abstinence and substance. And at that point, why? I feel like that is counterintuitive. So if you ever feel like you'd ever get to that particular point, why do the thing in the first place? There's a lot of psychological ramifications with that. And I would say, suffice it to say, that majority of us, young folk, and I'm gonna call anybody 40 and under, young folk, realize the pressure in life. Um, Even those that were in the church home that were being told that it was wrong, realize the pressures that came with life after attempting to be an individual in society with a bunch of people who didn't adhere to the same standard, right? Um, I won't. Okay, yeah, we're the small few as believers in Christ, right? The smaller of number, and so when you are around peers and people, uh, just in society, just in your walk of life, there's a bunch of people who don't follow a lot of things you do. So there's multiple pressures. There's multiple opportunities to make mistakes. And there's anything that you can say about a baby or a young person, is that they'll bump their head and make mistakes. Um, Quite a few people, that was their mishap. They gave of themselves. A woman gave of one of the most charitable and most precious things of herself to somebody who she may not have attempted to, she may have been coerced into doing, or she just didn't realize the power in giving it up. And a lot of men, um, young men, actually took that, because of their inability to be able to fit in without doing it, right? So there's a lot of different ramifications, but biblically, we already know that there was an era where it was black and white, but we also do know that there is grace. I'm leaving alone after that. I'm leaving alone after that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to see where we're gonna go from here. The floor is yours. The floor is yours, bro.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, those are your opening remarks. Whew. Let's see. Where do we jump in? Oh, we got the tandem over there. What's up, my boy? Let's get your opening remarks real quick.
I don't have my laptop, but I'm here. I'm here.
He doesn't have a laptop.
Oh, they can
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay.
He don't have his laptop. So
Yes, I have to. I'm here. I'm sorry, y'all.
All right. You know what the topic is, right, bro?
I just been informed. I just got informed.
We did too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had one talking.
Okay. Cool. I can adjust. That's a tough topic. Who picked that one?
This one.
Oh. I don't even know. Okay. Sonny ended it with Grace. I don't even want to go ahead.
Yeah, ended it Grace. Hey.
You got something?
It's so many things. Well, we are Homo sapiens, so
Go to bed. Go to bed.
All right,
Go
look,
to bed.
let's jump in. Let's jump in.
Tell him to go to bed. He
Right,
said
so-
we're Homo sapiens.
Yes, let's jump in. All right, y'all, let's go to 1 Corinthians 6, man. This is what we
Good job,
start.
Trey.
Okay, let's do
1 Corinthians 6.
Sir.
First Corinthians 6. Let me get that too.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, y'all.
Okay, man.
All right, 1 Corinthians 6. Let's see where we want to start. All right, let's jump in at verse 12. Now, a little context about Corinth, and I'm not going to really get into deep about Corinth, but Corinth was a very immoral place. It was a place where they practiced incest. It was a place where they practiced promiscuity. All of these things was good evening, Dante. Welcome to Unplugged. Corinth was a interesting place, right? And so Paul is addressing the church here at Corinth because of some of the things that are going on. Like I said, they were practicing incest and son sleeping with his father's wife and all that stuff like that, right? So we get to 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Paul is talking about who we are in Christ Jesus now. And it's funny that Sonny ended with grace because that was one of the premises of Paul's ministry, is to understand that we are saved by grace because of Christ. Christ made us justified from the law, and so God sees us as righteous because he sees his son when he sees us. But then Paul says, even though we're saved by grace, he says, should we continue in sin? Romans chapter 6. I think it's Romans 6, somewhere along there. Romans 6:23. No, Romans 6:23. For all have sinned, come short of the glory of God. It's in there. Romans 6. Y'all go read it. But Paul says, shall we continue any longer in sin that grace may abound? He says, God forbid. All right. So then we get over to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse number 12. He says, all things are permitted for me, but all things are not of benefit. All things are permitted for me, but I will not be mastered by anything. Food is for the stomach, and the stomach is for food. However, God will do away with both of them. But the body is not for sexual immorality, but for the Lord. The Lord is for the body. Now, God has not only raised the Lord, but also raised us up through his power. Do you not know that your bodies are part of Christ? Shall I then take away the parts of Christ and make them parts of a prostitute? Far from it. Or do you not know that the one who joins himself to a prostitute is one body with her? For he says, the two shall become one flesh. But the one who joins himself to the Lord is one spirit with him. Flee sexual immorality. Every other sin that a person commits is outside the body, but the sexually immoral person sins against his own body. Or do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God, and that you are not your own? For you have been bought with the price. Therefore, glorify God in your body. All right, that's a lot to chew on. Simple as this. We see that sexual immorality. Now understand the context of this, because oftentimes we look at this passage of scripture and we just say no. But a context of what Paul is writing, he's talking about a lifestyle of sexual immorality, right? I know Trent said, you said, well, it's kind of the rabbit's out the hat now. It's kind of ain't putting it back in there, right? And so we understand those things, but because grace abounds, we now live a transformed life, right? Not saying that we're going to be sinless, but we ought to begin to sin less the older we get and the more we grow spiritual, right? So understanding what happens, that word, and we even look at that word fornication, it comes from the root word of the Greek porneia. That's where we get the term pornography from. All right, it means to have sex with somebody that you're not married to, pretty much, to simplify the term. All right, the sex with anyone that you're not married to. When we look back into uh man, y'all threw this on me. When we look back into, I believe parts of Leviticus, um, uh, maybe Deuteronomy, somewhere along in those books, you'll see some context more about the lifestyle of the sexual immoral people and those who were engaging in practices of sexual immorality, prostitutes, people sleeping with same sex, people sleeping with animals, all those things. These things are not new. These things didn't just come about. And so all of these things dealing with sexual immorality is the far side of the slope, right? It's the far end of the spectrum. But people didn't just wake up one day and start having sex with animals, right? This was a progression because we all started somewhere, right? The alcoholic didn't become an alcoholic after their first drink, right? And so therefore we got to understand the sexual immoral person didn't become a sexual deviant or sexual immoral person the first time they committed the act of fornication, right? Fornication is an act, but sexual immorality is a lifestyle. All right. Fornication is the act, but sexual immorality is the lifestyle. That means I just don't care what I do with my body, who I do with my body, whatever the case may be. But when we understand as a new creature in Christ, y'all hear this plain, hear this well. When we understand that we are a new creature in Christ, that our body is no longer ours. Let me tell you what I mean by that. The Bible tells us that that when Adam looked upon Eve, he saw Eve and he said to God, "This is now bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh," right? And so we also understand that God told them to be fruitful and multiply in the garden. All of these events, y'all up to speed with all that, right? I'm just walking through this stuff. When Adam and Eve knew each other, that's when they were considered, the marriage was consummated, right? Everybody heard that term, consummation of the marriage, right? When a husband and a wife, they come together for the very first time, their marriage is sealed. Pretty much their marriage is consummated. They have become one flesh. You take your vows, you take your oath, you take all of that stuff, but when you become one, when you that's why it's called intercourse, because when you enter, you become one, right? You become one. And so we have to be careful that when we join ourselves to the Lord's body, that we're not sharing the Lord's body with random people. All right. And so that's what Paul is talking about in 1 Corinthians 6. So understanding that, I think the text says something like, let one leave his father and mother and become one flesh, or be joined to their spouse, and they become one flesh. The twain becomes one. All right, something like that. All right, so having those precepts, knowing that when I enter into the covenant of marriage, I'm also entering into the covenant with God. All right. Understanding that part of it takes me to Ephesians 5. When I look at Ephesians 5, Bible tells us 5, 22, 23, 24, up in there, 25, it says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. God often throughout scripture equates our relationship with him as a marriage. Right? As a Christian, as a New Testament Christian, as a born again believer, as a child of God, I am the bride of Christ. The church is the bride of Christ. Right? And so God looks at covenant. What is covenant? Covenant is a bond, it's a pact, it's a promise. Right? When God looks at a covenant, the Bible said God is not mocked, that whatsoever a man soweth, that should he also reap. Right? So God doesn't break his promises. It is not in God that can lie, right? God does not break his promises. So in essence, he doesn't want us to break our promises. When we come into covenant with God, we become the bride of Christ. The church becomes the bride of Christ. When we become the bride of Christ, our body no longer belongs to us, but our body is the temple of God. That's the simplest way I can put it without even having any preparation for this, is that we don't belong to ourselves. And it really boils down to covenant. If you wouldn't do it to your spouse, we shouldn't do it to God. And every time that we have sex outside of marriage, we're basically doing that to God. We're breaking our covenant with God, just as if we were cheating on our spouse. It's really that simple. It's a spiritual cheating, but it's a cheating. Look at the text. Look at the text. Look at the text. Look at the text.
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but that is a strong statement. That is such a
It
strong
is.
statement.
It is. Look at verse 14 again.
Oh man.
Now God has not only raised the Lord, but will also raise us up through his power. Do you not know that your bodies are part of Christ? Shall I then take away the parts of Christ and make them parts of a prostitute? Far from it. Or do you not know that one who joins himself to a prostitute is one body with her? For he says the two shall become one flesh. But the one who joins himself to the Lord is one spirit within him. Flee sexual immorality. Every other sin that a person commits is outside the body, but sexual immorality, a sexual immoral person sins against his own body. So not only that, even that last part of the text, when we have sex outside of marriage, we're not just sinning outside. Let me say it like this: in law enforcement, there's a certain thing called crimes against property and crimes against person, right? Crimes against property, you vandalize somebody's car, you break into somebody, you vandalize somebody's home, their shed. That's crimes against property. Crimes against a person is murder, rape, assault, all those things, right? Y'all understand those two principles? Well, Paul is saying you're not doing this to somebody else. Every time we have sex outside of covenant, we're misusing our own bodies. We're telling basic God, look, I appreciate what you've done for me, but I'm not only sinning against you, I'm sinning against my own self. That means I don't love myself enough to allow someone to be in covenant with me before I give myself to them.
A lot of agreements.
Wow, good job, Trent.
Did y'all could correct me if I'm wrong. Jesus fall in love with a stripper?
What up?
Prostitute. That's the word. Did he have some type of thing going with a prostitute or no?
No.
Okay. So somebody told me wrong. Okay, that's why I asked. Okay, cool.
Are you thinking of like the story, like the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene?
I think that's what he's talking about.
That's
Just
So
what
it's different. I've heard different things and read different things. So
I've heard that too. You're not the only one that have heard that, but
Right.
that just came out of the mouth of a fool, and
Well,
No,
I mean,
right.
Think about it though. Jesus had a relationship with all sinners, right? He ate with the sinners and the publicans and the tax collectors. He came to save those. He came to save the lost, right? And so he spent time with people that he shouldn't have spent time with, according to man's standard,
right.
right?
We can hear you, Key.
No.
Say something.
something.
No.
It's delayed.
Oh, it's delayed. It's like
You're lagging. You're lagging. Or as they say in Call of Duty, you about to go to the gulag.
Did we? So if you have sex out of marriage, your body isn't even your own body. It's God. So that's the first agreement. Right?
Yeah,
That's
if you are a part of Christ's body, if you are a Christian,
if
yeah, if you are a Christian, like we belong to Christ. We are part of Christ's body. That's why we always say that we are the church, right? We are the church. What is the church? The church is the body of Christ.
Okay, now playing devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Can we
Every time you play devil's advocate, the advocates for you.
Can we go back to the what part?
the what?
Just type it.
Just type it.
Just type it.
Playing devil's advocate here, right? And just to be quite facetious, what if who you're having sex with is also
For you.
a part of God's body, right?
Oh,
So then
oh.
technically,
Don't tee me up, Taylor. No.
I think that calls bad love.
but I'm just saying, like, if you're technically both a part of God's body,
So you're saying
and even though the covenant is not there, but it was intended, right? Like the plan was like we both see each other in this space to future the relationship, whether it happened and or not. But you both know that like I am a child of God, you are a child of God. We both are his body. No? Am I going to hell for that?
so you're telling what if that's the one for like we're the one for each other and we're both like we have to get married still.
Listen.
It's not because we're not even there yet. Because it's like still like early on in the relationship, but we both know that we love have these strong feelings for each other.
To the man.
I think Carlos to get it. I think he's saying it like when you do it within marriage, that's how it should be done. Like
anyway.
That's
yeah, I know that's not the right way, but like
let me back up.
The relationship is also.
Let me back up because I think that there may be a teenager out there that needs to hear this. Right, and some of us may be older than the teenage age, or teenagers because we haven't had these discussions before. Raise your hand, and I'm gonna answer your question, Key, because that was a very good question, very very good question. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Raise your hand if you were told if you grew up with your parents, your grandparents, some type of authoritarian, right, in your life. Don't have sex.
Like at all?
Like if you were told that, like as a teenager, as a child, don't have sex or don't have sex before marriage.
Oh,
Raise your hand.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right. Who was explained to why?
What?
Yeah.
Wait. You see the disconnect? Here's where we go wrong. And this is me talking. This is where Paige believes we don't do our best as youth leaders, youth ministers, even young adult ministers, pastors, all of the church leaders, right? Parents, even, right?
Yeah.
We don't do the best because think about the traditionalists and the baby boomers. The baby boomers did what they were told to do, right? They you do what I say because I said so, right? My generation, we call the tail end of that. You do what I tell you to do because I'm the parent, right? My dad used to tell me all the time, I don't care how old you get, I'm always be that much older than you, right? That's where we come from, okay? So you all's generation is coming behind us, and you all like, okay, y'all saying why? Y'all telling us not to do something, but why? You all question everything, right? But what happens when there's no explanation? You tend to get curious. You want to see what this hidden for. right? Because if it's that, why are you telling us not to do it? It's if
It
it's
must
something
be good.
Bible, I wouldn't be
very
here if it wasn't for it, right? And so I think it's almost like you telling me not to touch a button. I want to see what the button gonna do.
It's almost
I
like
got
almost
shiny object syndrome, so
you
I'm
just
be
shouldn't
like,
have told
"Ooh,
me about the button because
yeah, you shouldn't have told me the button was there, right?"
yeah, I want
So
to touch it now.
if I know the button is there, if I know the button is there, let me tell you what I do with my son. Some people not gonna like it, but I don't care because he's mine. I take my son to the gun range. I let my son shoot my weapon. Why? Because I don't want him to become curious one day and I'm not around and
Right.
he accidentally or he searches for it until he finds it. He won't find it. But if he happened to come across somebody else's weapon one day at somebody else's house, he respects that weapon because he knows what it does and he knows how to use that weapon, right? And so I'm not a proponent of telling children and telling people what not to do. I'm for educating us why we should do it. Okay. Right. So I'm not going to be the one that's going to come over here and say, don't have sex before marriage. I'm not going to tell you that because guess what? That's what everybody else is telling you. You already heard that. What I am going to tell you is that sex is a gift from God. Sex is a gift from God. Sex is a great thing. It's a good thing, right? The Bible tells us that the marriage bed is undefiled, right? Sex is a good thing. What happens? What do you do with the very precious gift? A very important gift, a very valuable gift.
You take care of it.
You're supposed to share it.
Oh.
You're supposed to share it?
You open it?
Before that.
You're supposed to treasure it. You're supposed to take care of it.
He said valuable.
Before that, you put it in, right? You put it.
Yeah.
You put it in a package. You put it in a gift box, and you wrap it up. You make it real pretty, and you put a bow on it, right? And you put the person's name on. Oh God. You put the person's name on it, because your intention is to give that person this gift. Now you bought that gift with the sole intention of only giving it to that one person.
Hold on, right? And not only that,
is worthy of that gift that you spent your good money on, right? But you put it in a package. What I'm trying to tell you, go ahead, Sonny. Go ahead.
I'm gonna add this real quick. Not only that, you got that gift for an intended purpose at an intended time. So you don't allow that person to come and get it before its due date. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My Lord.
Never go to a party without a present.
Oh God. And the problem is you give it before the due date, you're gonna have a due date. If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
I like that one.
Some of y'all gonna get that on the way home.
The fertile fathers would know.
Same as
So the thing is, you don't meet a person and buy them a ring from day one, because in your mind they haven't earned the ring. They haven't done nothing for you to know if they're worthy of the ring. Why? Because we place more value on the ring than we do the vagina or the penis. This unplugged. I'm gonna call it by its anatomical name, right? That's what it's called, right? So we place more value on that than we do our own bodies. When our own bodies came from God, but these rings were made by men. Yeah, they come from natural resources. Yeah, they come from stones and all that stuff like that. But it takes some processing. Right. It takes some processing of man to get them to where they hold value to us. Because guess what? If I was to propose to someone with a diamond that has not been polished and cut, it's a raw diamond, they will look at it and like, what is this? Because it doesn't look like what it looks like on your finger. Right? Even the diamond has to go through the process of a time tested and pressurized and cutting and polishing
and displaying
all of that. just before it can be ready for your finger, it has to go through the process. Oh God, what
Wow.
about us? And so what I'm trying to get us to see right here is that God gave us sex as a gift of marriage. The package that he packaged it in is marriage. And so every time we open the gift outside of marriage, we're basically stealing. Because that wasn't your package. That wasn't your gift.
Mm.
How would you feel if somebody opened your Christmas present with your name on it?
That's what we're doing.
I'm opening one of theirs.
And here we are in 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody is opening everybody else's gifts.
That is the problem. We're doing so much cross section and it's ridiculous.
Cross section. I want
Cross gifting.
I feel like trash, and I can't get in my trash can.
But this is my thing, Mr. Page, and this is something that I think about a lot because it is I don't want to say it's a problem, but issue that isn't understood well. What if people don't know the type of gift they have, and what if they don't know how to wrap it properly?
Well, you know,
what if they like? Everyone has a gift, but what if they don't understand that? Because okay, we were put on this earth to mainly reproduce, right? That's like the scientific.
We were placed on earth to
Some will say that.
Honor God, to worship God.
Yes, yes. But some people would say we're just here to reproduce and multiply. Okay. So to some people, sex is like you said, it's just a lifestyle. Like that is a thing. So my question is, what do you do if you don't realize that? Like get closer to God
and I think this is where, like I said, like I prefaced my initial statement or my statement a few minutes ago, is that this is where we have to do better as mentors, as teachers, as leaders, as parents, as older Christians who have bumped their head enough times to know. We just have to do better educating, but also we have to begin to value ourselves and teaching our children who they are, that they're somebody special, right? When people don't feel like they're valuable or that they're worthy, they'll succumb to anything, right? If you know that you're everything about you is a gift, that you're God's gift to creation, because you are. Every single person that is walking around is God's gift to creation. It's God's gift to humanity, because he placed everyone here for a particular purpose, right? We have to begin to build value back up in humankind, in human race.
Yeah, I agree.
We walk around and look at each other, and I hate this generation, man. I walk around this school, and I'm thankful I didn't have a daughter. I walk around in this school all day, and I can't count how many of these little girls are walking around with these tights on, with leggings on. Those are not pants. We should not be able to. You are a little girl. We should not be able to see anything on your body. Period. This has become a. Now think about it. I believe this is. Let's talk about spiritual warfare now. I believe that this is a device.
We are in spiritual.
Huh?
We are in a spiritual.
Because I believe this is absolutely. I believe this is a device of the devil. Why is that? Because men are visual creatures.
Yes.
Men are also hunters by that's law, right? We're
hunters.
We're hunters, right?
Creepers.
We were created to seek, That's why when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtain honor and obtain favor from the Lord, right? We are hunters. We go after, we work, right? Because we are visual creatures, the enemy has not, man. I remember when we were growing up, you couldn't see all the stuff that you see today. Now you don't even, there's nothing left to the imagination. And it's normal. Women years ago wouldn't dare walk around with some of the stuff that women walk around with today. There's no. Now I'm not judging. I'm not going to judge. I'm just telling you how society has shaped itself, and the whole women movement. Oh, you should love your bodies. Yeah, do love your body, but let everybody else work for that gift that you have. Not being able to see what's inside the box. That's why we put it in the box, because you can't see through the box.
It goes back to value.
Can we just reel it back a second? Because I have a
well, so I'm gonna let you have it. I'm pity pat and I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, so the topic is sex before marriage, correct?
Yeah.
All right. I think you hit it on hammer with the nail. There's value. Okay. I'm gonna just take it, and I'm not gonna genderify this, but I'm gonna go for women. There are women out there, and I mean this in the most respectful way. Okay. To a guy, what we see is what we're gonna go off of. So if you're portraying, okay, if you say you're a wife, but you're portraying yourself in unwifely ways, how are you think we're gonna portray or perceive you as a wife? Meaning, if you are throwing sex at us, or if you're doing sexual things first,
Acting that way.
how do you think we're going to reciprocate that to you, back to you?
Let me jump in real quick with what you just said. I don't believe it's their fault. I don't believe it's their fault. I'm gonna tell you why. We live in a sex-driven society now.
Yes, we do.
Everything that you see on social media, everything that you see on commercials, it's even on cartoons. There innuendos thrown out there. There's so much stuff that drives sex sales. They used to say this years ago, that sex sales, right?
Yes.
And so it makes men spend money, and it makes women shop so men will spend money, right? Everything is the game. It's enticing, right? Because it sells. Why does sex sales? Because men are visual. How do I know that? When Adam, there's nothing in the Bible that tells us that God said to Adam that this is your wife. The Bible says that God put Adam to sleep, into a deep sleep, and he created the woman from his rib. And when Adam awoke from his sleep and he saw the woman, when he saw the woman, he said, "This is now flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone." God didn't introduce Eve as his wife. He saw her. Right? It's the way that men were wired to, because she came from a man. She came from the man. So when he looked at her, he was like, you know what? This is me. This is my counterpart. This is beautiful to me. And he did exactly, but he made her his. And so what you said, Trey, I get it, and that's how we respond. And I'm gonna take ownership. That's how we respond.
Yeah.
Is that how we should respond? No.
In a nice.
And that's where we got to start holding ourselves accountable and holding each other accountable as men to not glorify and sexualize everything that we see.
Exactly.
Right? It's a two-way street. I'm throwing it out there because all these entertainers are out there and twerking and doing all this stuff, and it's funny, it's entertaining, it looks good, it builds attention, it brings people, they look at you, right? But we're looking more at the flesh, and that's what this all boils down to, is that the enemy wants us to focus on the flesh, so we never see our spirit. We never see the spiritual side because our society is inundated with the flesh. And even in the body of Christ, there's more emphasis on the flesh. How do I know this? Because for years, it's been an emphasis on what you wear to church.
Mhm.
And I'm not even talking about the tight clothes and this and that. I'm talking about even for men, oh, you gotta wear a shirt and a tie. You gotta wear a suit, or you gotta look this way, you gotta look that way. We have brought that stuff inside the body of Christ. And now it is just shifted with the times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait.
Uh,
I just need to dial it back. I need to dial it back real quick.
Okay.
Because you had said, why are girls wearing tights? Like, why are they wearing leggings to school? Right?
To me, that's
Mhm.
just less for
Granted, I can understand how, like, I grew up in a Christian high school, so like our slogan was like modest is hottest, right?
Yeah.
But why? I feel like as a female,
Mhm.
there's a lot of stigma on what we need to do for y'all, right? For like male gaze. And there's never a conversation, at least, like, maybe I'm not a male, so I don't have these conversations, right? But at least when I was in high school or like even middle school growing up, like, it was never, hey guys, like, don't be pervs, like, yes, we understand that you are visual creatures. Obviously, that's why, we dress the way that's why we do our makeup. That's why we want to present ourselves as such, right? But like, that stigma of women have to dress a certain way or portray themselves a certain way so guys don't think, like, I'm trying to make sense here. Am I making sense?
No, go ahead. You make it.
Okay.
I'm
So watch.
It
So watch.
doesn't matter.
Because this is a personal story, right? I wore my favorite dress. My favorite dress was like slightly low cut, short, black, flowy dress. My favorite dress of all time. I got sexually harassed because a guy asked me, hey, like, you wouldn't wear that dress if you didn't want it. I'm wearing this dress because I love this dress. I'm wearing this dress because it shows off my asset, like, because I love my legs. It's showing off my assets. Let me finish that word. Like, I'm wearing this dress because it's comfortable. I'm wearing this dress because I feel good in it, not for you to look at me a certain type of way. The dress wasn't like revealing everything. Yes, it was like short, but that was it. But because he thought that I was wearing this dress to get attention from him or from anybody, I literally had to throw the dress away. Because at this point, now I'm not even comfortable with any, like, I'm not comfortable in it because you have ruined that for me because of your male gaze, because nobody taught you, hey, don't be a creep and appreciate a woman for who she is and not.
That's fair. And I respect that. Let me play father for a minute because I am one, right?
Go ahead and go there. Go there. I know he about to go. Go ahead.
There's a certain thing about there's a certain way to accentuate your assets without exposing your assets. All right. The dress, I don't know what kind of dress it was, right? But what my statement was, when you have leggings on that shows your imprint of everything that God gave you, that's not an invitation for a man to give you sexual attention, but it is exposing what God gave you, because that's not something we should be able to see walking around in public, period.
But then women to say we should be free. We should be able to be free.
Okay, what
Women will say gray sweatpants. Are you kidding me?
I was just about to do it.
Same concept.
Same concept.
Hoochie daddy
but see, the same concept.
Yes.
But you know, but see, this is the thing now, because of the way society is shaped, the women are doing it now. It was always placed the most emphasis on the women. So now the grace, there's been the shift of man attention now. Okay, guys, we want to see. There's a propaganda of hey man, it's almost gray sweatpants season and all this. Like, this is stuff that's glorified, right? This is the way it's thrown out there. Well, why is the gray sweatpants so popular?
I don't. It doesn't.
They ain't gonna lie. They
it
comfortable.
makes
They comfortable to me, but
Well, they are comfortable.
This is the
But
only
for
thing.
them, it's sexualized.
Not
Yes.
really.
yeah, I don't
That's
see.
why
Everything.
sundress season is so popular.
It's a trend thing.
Sweatpants are not a sex. They're not a sexual clothing type of thing. I don't know
Can
how
Okay.
they.
Neither is a dress, Trey. Neither is a
You
regular
have a
dress.
dress with your assets exposed.
Can I say
That isn't.
You wear gray sweatpants with your asset exposed. And then what are we supposed to do?
Can I say something?
Please say something,
Okay,
Kim.
you got a point.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you.
Finally.
Pastor, you just did prove Taylor. Why you talk to Taylor as a father instead of being a father to the nigga feel uncomfortable?
So what now?
That's it.
Why are you not a father
You
to the boy?
Father to Taylor. Why are you giving to cover herself up instead of giving the boy fatherly advice how not to be?
Weird.
Because I had already said that. I had said that even before Taylor's
but
comment. Is that?
Taylor just
But
made
I was not
the
speaking.
whole
I was
point.
not speaking specifically to her situation. I'm talking about a father in general. When I see these kids walking around at school, and I see how these little boys are running around and how they're he-heing and ha-haing, and I hear the conversations when I'm walking by. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as fathers.
That's my
Man, we gotta be able to teach our little girls how to protect herself.
You're teaching the wrong ones. You're
No.
teaching the wrong ones.
Stop.
No, look, because as a woman, you are already taught how to protect yourself.
Hear what I'm
The
saying.
men
Hear what
are
I'm
not
saying.
being taught.
No. As women, you're not being taught how to protect yourselves.
Thank you.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. I'm talking about, because I see it from a law enforcement perspective. They're predators out here. The men are naturally stronger than women. So yeah, you might be taught how to look behind you and this, that, and the third. But if a man comes and attacks you, chances are you're probably going to lose that battle. So the society that we live in, this is what I'm talking about, as far as, because I have another conversation with our young men when it comes to how they deal with the police and how they handle each other. Go home at night, survive, live another day. This is what I'm talking to our young women. Don't make yourself a target because of the culture that we live in. It's sad that we have to say that.
But do you are we here for? Okay,
This is the world that we live in. This is what I'm telling you. I see the stuff.
No,
I see the
and
stuff.
nobody's discrediting you. Nobody's saying that you're wrong. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. But
what y'all don't realize is that you're continually telling us the message. You are continuing the cycle of this because you guys are putting
the stigma on the wrong ones.
putting y'all father to protect ourselves. We get that. We know how society is. We understand that we need to protect our society is going to change in a way where we don't have to protect ourselves. Why can't y'all gather into these men telling us instead of telling us how not to be targets to with a red dot pointing us out?
Because
this cycle, everything is on us. But
Let's look at the
the
statistics.
problem starts all.
Let's look at the statistics. Let's look at the numbers. Because women lie, men lie, numbers don't. Where the majority of our men? I'm talking about if the majority of our men are not present in their sons' lives,
Okay.
then where's that teaching coming from? That's why I initially said the church got to step up. Church leaders, youth leaders. This is what I'm talking. It's a numbers game, and we're upside down. So yes, we talk to the ones that we can reach. I'm constantly pulling these little kids, these little boys aside. I walked by last week and saw a football player just lounge back with his feet up in the chair, leaning back in the middle of class. I asked the teacher, "Can I talk to him for a minute?" I said, "Man, what are you doing? You're an athlete. You're a leader. This is not how a leader conducts himself, right? You got people that look at you. So what I'm saying is that we got to have more men to step up to do this because we're already behind the deficit. We're already in a deficit because we don't have a lot of our men out here. So guess what? We place more emphasis on our women because to us, our women are targets. People are targeting our women.
Get the target off our back then.
Wait. All right. I mean,
jump in, son.
No, we didn't ask for it.
I got a question, and I'm gonna shut up. I got a question. I'm gonna shut up because you keep proving me. You keep proving us right. So you said something to the football player about, but what do you be saying when you be hearing these conversations about these little boys? So you can tell the football player to sit up and pay attention, but when these things, you automatically go tell the girl. What do you say?
I don't.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay.
Let me answer that question. I never say anything to the girls because guess what? I'm in a position in the school to where if I say anything to the girls, it may be taken the wrong way. So I talk to a female teacher and say, hey, I heard this, and then I go talk to the young men and I let the females deal with that because we are in a culture too. I know personally an officer that said something to a young lady and it was taken out of context and he lost his job.
I agree.
I agree. Okay, so here's the question and then I'm done. So when it comes to like if you see the same way that you address the boy who had his legs up, right? If you see him doing something inappropriate to a girl, do you pull him aside and be like, yo, young girl?
Absolutely right.
Absolutely
right.
Yeah.
There's no question.
But okay, then thank you. Number one, thank you for doing that. Thank you. That's my point. A lot of men aren't going out of their way. A lot of them, and I've been in classrooms, a lot of them are cheering them on. That's where it gets sickening. I've been in classrooms where young men think that it's okay to assault somebody and that it's not their fault. A lot of young men have been assaulted and don't realize that they're assaulted because their fathers have told them, oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay to have some older women, do whatever she wants to you. It's okay to have sex at the age of 12. It's okay to have sex at the age of 9. Are you kidding me? No. But this is generational. Fathers are teaching their sons that it's okay. And then friends are going and teaching their friends, yo, you ain't done this yet. And now they're chastising their friend because they haven't done anything yet. And so they'll pick a victim. They'll pick a girl who ain't doing nothing to nobody and is wearing a pretty dress that day. And because she looks good to the male gaze, he thinks that he can take advantage of her. That's what needs to be talked about. And that's what's not being talked about.
That is definitely a perspective, and I am not at all diminishing that. You're absolutely correct. Now let's also talk about the other perspective, where there is nothing but fanfare and kowtow over being a city girl, and that it's all about getting the opportunity and the optics to get over on men. So therefore, you're teaching a whole, not just a generation now. You're teaching young and new women the fact that it's all right to be not the target, but the actual hunter, the rabbit gun. So now you've allowed yourself to step into warfare and want somebody to come to your defense. Oh, let's also talk about the young men. I'm not picking sides because it's both sides. I'm talking about the young men who are longing for men to get on their tail. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've coached young men, very young men. who have
They
nothing but
they
bad.
looking for structure.
They want
They
structure
are.
because all they have out here
Bro.
is just being it's rogue. It's crazy, right?
Bro, let me
they
tell you.
are.
Let me say this real quick, bro. I
Go
was
ahead.
I was at the golf course yesterday, and I met a guy who used to be the athletic director at the high school, and he told me, he said I commend you for what you're doing. We talked about the church, we talked about the law enforcement, we talked about the school and the kids, all that stuff like that. He said, let me tell you something. You may think that they're not listening to you. He said, but what they want is structure and discipline. He said they want it,
Yeah.
but they don't see it.
Yes.
He said they desire it. And man, you just said the very thing he said to me.
Yep.
Listen, I live it, like literally every single and Travian will tell you that's my brother for a reason. We do this. We continually keep each other accountable. The group that I run with, the people that I bring on here, it's all about keeping each other accountable and self-respect. That's what's missing. Okay. Whenever women start to have the conversation about, well, why can't I do this, or why isn't it beneficial to do that? A lot of the things is because what you're wanting to do, as far as displaying yourself in a way that makes you feel fine, is not always the most self-respectful thing to do. Not talking about anybody else, but for yourself. Likewise, for me to be bummy all the time in every situation, wearing these gray sweatpants to functions that I shouldn't have them at, knowing that my stuff lying around, that'd be disrespectful on my own self to someone else. Because what's that showing? First off, that's showing I don't care about myself. Or that's showing I'm giving off an energy that's not truly what's in me. A lot of these women that walk around, here's the thing. You want to talk about it? Men that sag their pants. What was that a signal of? In prison, it was a signal of what? I'm available, right? We get outside and it's on the streets now, and they show that signal. What you think that guy is? Oh, he got some street cred. He ain't really got much going for himself, but he a hustler, right? So you want to sit up and try to condemn the guys who look up on a woman who dressed very closely to a whore and be like, oh, you shouldn't have these thoughts about it. But we see that being displayed from the people who are actually putting out content of being exactly what you're dressing like. Like your idol isn't the most classy person. The person that you are structuring yourself behind isn't the most well polished, put together person. So when you go and represent them, you associate yourself by sight, because first off, seeing is believing. If you don't believe that, go outside and look at the trees. When the wind blows and the leaves move, aren't you going to say, oh, that's the wind right there? You believe that. So when a girl comes through with something tight on that I can see everything it matters for me, what I'm gonna think? Oh, she don't care about herself. Oh, she just not hold on. Before you take a different side, not to saying that that's the reality, but what she just put out was the fact that she's okay with everything that is private to her being on public display.
She's available.
Exactly. To things that we should never, ever, 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 ever have the opportunity to know. It's supposed to be a mystery. I'm supposed to look on you and be like,
what you got to say, Tran? Because y'all be saying that about the hoes, but all the hoes. So what? Y'all say one thing and then y'all married the other. So what you got to say, Tran?
Wait, hold on. Say it one more time.
Hey, Sonny, you married?
Oh, no, I'm divorced.
Y'all wife the hoes.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not married either.
Me neither.
Are you
I
married?
know I'm not married.
You're not married? Okay.
Tran, what you got to say?
I was just gonna say that it really doesn't matter what we have on.
Thank you.
Whether we're wearing a dress that is really nice looking for us or for y'all, whether we're wearing pants with long sleeves on, whether it's for us or for y'all, men's minds will do what men's minds do.
Right.
That just is what it is. And that's a them thing that they have to work on. That if I go change right now and I sit right here in a dress on, I'm not looking for attention. I'm hot. Maybe I want to wear a dress, but it's all self. It both comes from both individuals. Am I wearing this because I'm trying to get you and you and you to look at me, or am I wearing this because it's an event and I'm trying to dress up to par with people? Or am I looking at her because she's really attractive and I'm trying to figure out how to pursue her in the nicest way? Or do I just want some tail? It's all self. it's self on both sides because we both do it in a different way, genderly way. But no, girl being a girl is no excuse. Boys will do boy things is not an excuse because women do these same things. Men can look really nice, and we're gonna sexualize it because they look. But that's the thing. We shouldn't sexualize you looking really nice with what you doing later on tonight. It's got to be some distinction, and it's got to be some self-control. And you can look nice and not be showing off, trying to get someone else's attention.
Agreed.
The sex before marriage, that's that part. What I just said has to come before the sex and marriage part. All that, but baby has to do it for a man because he's going to marry a woman, and I have to do it if I want to be pursued as a wife to someone, right? But so it's a double. You have to do both because you can't do one and not the other. You know what I'm saying? Sex or marriage is not going to happen. It has to be come from both. So that's why I was trying to run back around to the topic before we were talking about clothes and dresses and sweatpants because we got real left. But y'all did make sense. That was a good premise.
We really get left. All of those are seeds.
Yes.
Right. Everything with that we've been talking about is a seed that gets us to the place of where we find ourselves in a place of sexual immorality. Let me tell you why I know this. Because let's see, how do I want to preface this? It would be ideal to not have had sex before marriage, right? It would have been ideal. You can't miss nothing you never had, right? Right. So, but in some scenarios, some cases, like Sonny and I, when you've been married, you already know what it is. You know what it is, right? So now, when you are outside of, when you're no longer married again, now you have an appetite for certain things, right? And that's where the struggle is, because some people say, well, you know, because at my age, right, at around 40 years old, you know, chances are you're not a virgin anymore, right? You've been married, probably divorced, you've had a deceased spouse, or something has happened, right? At this point, if in most cases, if you're single around my age, right? Most cases, a lot of cases, I won't say most, a lot of cases, right? So what happens then? I hear people say, well, if I ever get married, or I want to get married, but I need to test it to see what it's like, because I don't want to end up with a spouse and have bad sex the rest of our marriage or the rest of my life, right? Truth be told, we should not know what bad sex is.
Yes, that's yes.
We should. Well, there shouldn't be no standard. Because if we had done it God's way, then we would have only known sex, and that would have been with that one person, and it would have been great because that's all we knew. But what has happened is, once we've gone outside of God's will and God's plan, now we've developed this palette for certain things.
Now there's
that everybody ain't gonna perform the same, right?
And people always say, "What's missing?" That's what's missing. Because people they'll have sex before marriage, and they're like, "Well, I'm doing it, but it's like something's missing." And what you just said, I said, I just thought about it in my head.
But all of the stuff that I've talked about before, it are seeds that get up to the sexualized world that we live in. You can go on Instagram right now. You can go on Twitter right now. You can go on any of these social media networks, and you can see sex broadcasting, right? You can see something sexual. And I was scrolling down my Facebook wall a few weeks ago, and it's USC, I think she ran track or played basketball or something. Did you see that, Sonny? That was a young lady who goes to USC, and they had her team pictures, her team photos up, and all you could do is see the imprint of her private parts. And nobody, and all down the comments, that's what people comment. They wrong for doing her like that. But guess what? It was glorified. Why? Because she got buku followers off of it. Because that's what our culture drives off of is likes. Man, I gotta get likes. I gotta get followers. Because if I get likes and followers, I can get subscriptions and I can get. That's why you think people make so much money on OnlyFans, because we live in a sexualized society. Women bragging about their own. That's why we're talking about that part. Yeah,
Go.
our men have an obligation too, but it's our women. We're losing our women to the streets.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, respect.
They for everybody.
If you are a woman that is carrying yourself in that magnitude, how do you expect?
That's what you're gonna get.
How do you expect a man to step towards you
backwards
in a less, I ain't gonna say respectful manner, but how do you expect something different
If that's what you're producing, if that's what you're giving off.
if that's what you're giving off?
It's just like a
cool. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Wait. No. Wait.
But Taylor, they'll turn around and say, "Nah, I ain't like that."
You're on OnlyFans.
That's a contradiction. You. If you're not like that, then I'm not knocking your hustle.
You're lying.
Don't portray yourself like that.
If that's not who you are.
Now, thankfully,
Watch this.
you have
Okay,
men
let me
that
say
understand.
this about that trade. Let me say this about that trade. That may not be who they want to be, but it's who they are.
That's who they. So
y'all. Okay, let me help y'all. Let me help y'all real quick. Y'all remember Diamond?
Who?
Yeah.
Y'all remember Diamond?
Yeah. Yeah.
From Players Club.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, most definitely. Lisa Ray.
That's all I got to say.
That's all you need. That's all you have to say. All right.
So the men.
I'm glad we understand.
Yeah, that's something I'll talk to you about off camera. But yes, my thing is, I'm not.
But you never. That's what they're saying. Like you never know where a person is. So like they don't know where they're coming from.
Baby got Trent, you just gotta go watch Players Club, okay? It's on Netflix.
But all I'm saying is,
some of the babies on.
It's nothing bad, but I'll tell you about it. But all I'm saying is that is how, and I agree with the women too. Some men are just weird. They do things. I'm a man and I don't understand it. They do things and they off. But it doesn't help either if you are out, but you want to be in. It just doesn't help. Thankfully,
It makes sense.
if you're a mentally strong man like myself, Mr. Page, and Mr. Palolo over here, you understand the difference between the two. Oh, hey, no. That's not. We understand how to be, but
To the ones who aren't catching up, it's like
some men don't have that. Because do you believe, Taylor and Miss Kiana?
Yes.
Do you believe that sometimes women can guide a man in certain steps that he may not know himself? Do you single moms have raised men to be great, even though that they, there's some things that they can't teach a man, but they have did the best they could. Some women can guide a man or give them the right image to go off of the best way they can. But if you paint the picture wrong, how do you expect it to be depicted back? Like, that's all I'm saying. Taylor, you can go ahead.
Oh.
Interesting.
But okay.
Oh, Taylor, you ain't going? Oh,
No, I'm going. I'm going. I'm trying to.
Hold up. Somebody patience.
I got you, patience. I got you.
But why are we to blame for a man's downfall?
I'm not.
I got you in a second. You know what I'm saying.
What just happened?
That's what I was about to ask y'all, because
said,
y'all are on the one hand, and we are the leaders of the pack. We are hunters. We are the head. I don't know where y'all women at, because disrespect our name. So y'all said that on y'all are everything. Y'all are the head, the end all be all, the end.
Right.
Us, them promiscuous bad women guide y'all to do bad. Adam and Eve. Eve guided Adam to do bad. But then it's our men are the head of society. So I can't answer your question, Trey.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was saying that we were talking about single for marriage. I'm on the topic,
let me help you out, Trayvon. This is what Trayvon's trying to do. Let me help you out, brother. All right. We know and we believe that women can at least create a decent standard for a man through raising them up the proper way, putting them in the right positions and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But why do you think that women who go out here and show substandard traits that then get substandard men to act to them in a substandard way, why do they feel that's just ludicrous, right? How when you whatever you give out, you get back, right? And I'm not just talking about women. Well, let's talk about the men, okay? Just so y'all can have a little bit at ease, okay? Because it's not a gender specific thing. These are behavioral things. Right? If I'm always out here bringing fruit all the time, how do I ever expect for a person, for a young woman who is actually set, stable, and ready to move forward to choose me? When I'm always out
and
here
that's
seen,
what y'all be forgetting. Like y'all ain't it pulled up as y'all think y'all be guided by these loose women. So all these loose women be on y'all. And
It's the same thing, vice versa.
Come on.
The fruits are low both ways.
Like,
the fruits are really low.
But Keon, in that statement you just made, a woman still can't go and marry a man. A man has to go and say, "Hey,"
supposed to do.
Well, in these times, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's a few weeks ago that
I don't. So somebody, I don't.
Y'all remember this? Y'all remember this statement I made a few weeks ago that women control sex, men control marriage.
Yes, sir.
That is true.
That's period.
Actual.
That is true.
Actual.
So
unless it's taken by force.
Unless it's taken by force.
Unless it's taken by force, yeah.
And that happens.
Oh, we actually.
And that's never right. But you know what? We live in a society now too, where we have so many weak men that we got more women raping men than we've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's a gender. It's what I call it. We're in a gender warfare too.
This is quite true.
We're in a gender warfare too.
Y'all have the courage to say it now. It's been happening, but y'all just courage now to say it out loud because you can't sit up here and say that women just been getting trifling. Women, y'all just not having the courage to say that. Oh, I have been sexually assaulted too.
Well, yes. But
to think that sexual assault is a womanly trait.
It's not a one-way side.
It's not.
It's not, but the band hammer gets dropped heavier on a man than a woman. And that's the reason why there's been so many hush mouths.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we want to talk about
if a man gets sexually assaulted by a woman,
what are you gonna say? He's gonna look at like
it's gonna be one of the most controversial things ever. They're gonna be like,
but that's the sad part because it shouldn't be.
That's
what I was saying earlier.
That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I was saying earlier.
That's what I'm saying. But you all have y'all have y'all stuff. We have our stuff, right?
Nobody's denying you your back. Nobody's denying
there's
you.
a lot more to there's a lot more when it comes to society to deal with.
I give you us.
And
I give you
and that's fair. And I'm not. I'm a social worker. I get it.
Taylor.
I get it. I see it all the time.
Prime example.
Absolutely. Nobody's denying you your pain or your trials. I get it.
We're all bad people.
Robert.
We're all bad people.
We're all bad people.
But I'm saying, like, there is, and I can accept this. There is a heavier stigma on men, especially younger men, who have had sexual experiences that they don't necessarily, that they did not want, right?
Yes.
But because the world says as a man you should enjoy sex, now all of a sudden you are deemed and in this state of confusion in the head, talking about, well, I don't know what just happened to me. You are a victim.
And instead of
that's what happens.
Your father is going to tell a girl how not to be a victim, how to deal with your victim. You know what?
Like, and that's the perpetual problem. That's what I was saying before. You have fathers telling their sons, hey, Boosie, little Boosie, whatever, set up his son to have sexual intercourse with a woman who was way past due, and said, I gave that to my son because it was time for my son to be a man. That's not.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
That's what we have out here.
This is what the standard is, because we glorify this behavior. And when we really look at the scriptures, as the church, we know that we are not of the world, right? We're in the world, but not of the world. But we find ourselves doing some of the same stuff and glorifying some of the same stuff and listening to some of the same stuff and selling out some of the same arenas and platforms and all that stuff like that for the wrong reasons. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm not going to plant seeds in this anymore, because these seeds, if I water this seed enough time, it's going to grow. It's going to produce fruit.
It's going to grow real bad. Yeah.
Mine been growing for 10 years. His name Caden. I'm telling you what I know, not what I read in the book.
Yes, sir.
But if there are, it's such a broad topic though, like sex before marriage, because like it's glorified as it's the number one selling thing other than like money. And sometimes you don't even have to pay for sex; it's free. So
keep going.
But what I'm trying to say is, it's people rather would
do that,
make that a priority versus marriage,
or their self-respect.
Then like they're not even looking to. There are people that say they want to get married, but they're not even looking for that no more.
Oh my goodness! I'm so glad you said that, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
You good?
But that is exactly what it is. People think that having the sex is going to get you to the marriage,
and that's
to the actual that connected marriage.
You gotta test your heart, right?
That's why people are like, well, then they say, oh well, you know, ain't no one put on earth for me. I'm like, no, you're just going backwards with it. And that's why you feel like it's not working. You're not doing what you're supposed to do, because you don't respect yourself. You don't respect men or women or whatever you like. You don't respect any of the things that leads up to that. So of course none of it's going to work out.
What about respecting God too?
Yeah. Y'all remember what you say?
None of the what about respecting?
I said, what about respecting God?
None of the prerequisites are there for you to get the prize, for you to get the gift to open it. Of course you're not going to get it.
I know off topic. Well, no, it can't be. Y'all remember that book or that movie called Think Like a Man? Where he was telling them 90-day rule and stuff like that. What I took from that is he was trying to tell women that y'all really should put and you can go off time, but give yourself some time to respect yourself. So if you meet a man 90 days, you know what I'm saying? Don't let them just get it on the first day. Actually have some type of integrity. Hold on, let me see what this goes. That's what I took
some type of integrity.
Even though it may have a different meaning, but
it's really control. And I think you said it earlier, Trent. It's about having self-control and discipline. Because let's be truth be told, we're adults. Yeah. Women, y'all want it just as much as we do.
Everybody has wants and needs.
But that's it comes down to, what are we going to honor? What's our honor system? Right? It is about control. It is about discipline. And those things take time and practice.
Yes.
They take time and practice, right? So understanding that we are not our own. Let me read this to y'all because I saw this a little while ago, and I wanted to say this when we were talking about the dressing part, because again, those are seeds that are planted.
I'm glad we came back. Okay.
Modesty is an attitude of humility and decency in dress, grooming, language, and behavior. If you are modest, you do not draw undue attention to yourself. Instead, you seek to glorify God in your body and in your spirit. Right? If we want to honor God, that's what we should be seeking. We should be seeking to draw attention to Him and not to ourselves. And we sometimes draw attention to ourselves by what we wear. And I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about women and men. I'm talking about sometimes we draw attention. Sometimes we put on outfits. We're like, oh yeah, I know I'm gonna get them this with this on.
Yes.
Right. Oh, I know I'm about to step out, and I'm about to, it's a fact, right? We sometimes we do that.
So what's the alternative? What's the alternative, right? Because if I'm no longer dressing to feel pretty, right? If I'm no longer dressing for myself and I'm only dressing for God, I'm a nun now.
Wait, no, you're not. No, the alternative is.
That is not what I said.
I know, but I'm like, I'm once again playing devil's advocate. I'm being a smartass. I'm just saying, like, as like, if I'm no longer,
you gotta put money in the swear jar when this is over.
If you got like $3 right now.
I'm not. I'm fine.
Make sure she put her money in.
If I'm no longer dressing to feel attractive for me,
that's not what we said.
But okay. So for me, then let me speak for myself.
Undue attention to yourself. If listen, God made us beautiful creatures. There's nothing more beautiful on earth than a woman. God knew what He was doing when He made y'all, right? Period. Right? Because I can't imagine what the world looked like just walking around looking at us all day.
Everywhere y'all would be mad.
Everywhere? You talking about depression?
Mad.
Listen, but what I'm saying is, because you already are beautiful, just off the fact that you were created,
love that.
There has to be a essence drawn to your spiritual beauty as well. And everything that we do as a Christian, it's where we find the balance, because we are living in this world but not of the world. So there's going to be some spillover. There's going to be some things that are just going to come with life. Right? You got some people that go to the stream and say women shouldn't have makeup, and women shouldn't have their ears pierced, and women shouldn't do this, and women should only wear skirts, and they should all the skirts should touch the floor and all that. Whatever. What I'm saying is modesty is, we should be able to look at you and know that. I'm gonna just be honest. Some of the baddest women that I've seen run Fortune 500 companies, and they be dressed to impress, and they ain't coming in no leggings. They
that's what I was trying to say.
That is in the leggings.
That's what I was trying to say. Yes.
So we look at hip hop. Hip hop has ruined our culture.
100%.
It's ruined our culture. It has given us a culture as a demographic, because that's the only. Oh my God! Truth be told, this is a sad commentary. The only thing they give us credit for is music and sports.
Sad thing.
That's what they give us credit for.
Entertainment.
And it's entertainment. Why? They like to laugh at us. They like to watch us make a fool of ourselves. I had a kid spell sagging backwards. Do you know what sagging spelled backwards is?
Yep.
What?
They make a fool of us.
Oh,
Yeah, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'm talking about. Somebody said it earlier. Self-respect, man. Self-respect goes a long way. And when we begin to have self-respect, our self-respect comes from a reverence and a respect to God.
God, yeah.
Because because in God I find a new identity. Because who I was before was inadequate and incomplete anyway. So the world can go around glorifying this and glorifying that, and we outside all summer, XYZ. But as a child of God, we need to be inside, trying to get to heaven.
Hello, ding dong.
and it may not be popular, but it's right. It may not feel good, but it's tight. All right. So we got to make sure that we are honoring God. And what Paul is saying is that we don't belong to ourselves anymore. When we make that vow to God, when we make that commitment to Him that I want to be a new creation, a new creature, a new creation, it's saying, you know what? Yep, I like sex a lot, but I love God more.
Right. Only thing I was just gonna say,
My
with the
body.
dressing
Oh,
thing.
listen to it.
Hmm?
I said, just right back to me. The group Trinity 5-7 gospel trio, ladies. The song is called My Body. Listen to it. You're gonna hear all that.
I remember that. Yeah. But that's a throwback for real.
Yeah.
But the only thing I was gonna say about dressing is when you said a CEO, a female CEO, walks in the room, she gonna look good, but she's not coming to play. When you have to have that demean, you have to have that because you can look nice and people catcall you because you're easy because you fall for anything. Sure. Sure. But if you're coming in and you look can't even finish the word good, but you're the demeanor of I'm here because this is my event and I know I look good. How y'all doing? That's unf-wittable. Can't nobody mess with that.
And
can't no one like
deter her. And to a man too.
They're like there's always two different types of women in a room.
And to a man.
Huh? Say it, Trey. Say it.
To a man, that's to a man that's gonna make us step. That's a value.
It's gonna make us elevate. It's gonna make us rise to the occasion.
It's gonna make us be like, oh,
you want a man to rise to the occasion.
I'm not gonna baby step approach her.
This ain't that type of vibe. Like this ain't the.
Let me get on our man. Let me get on our man.
You gotta calculate.
Come on, Pastor.
Let me get on our man. I've been hard on y'all. I've been hard on y'all tonight. Let me get on us. This is why our men won't step up and be men, because it's a lot of low-hanging fruit out there.
Absolutely.
And so if I don't have to step my game up because this, you know what? I really want her, but I'm gonna have to put some work in to get her. Mm-hmm. That means I'm not gonna have to put work in with her. I'm gonna have to work on me too. Mm-hmm. It's women out here crying right now over a Negro who ain't got a GED and she got 3 degrees.
And look, this is what is crazy. Men, we are workers naturally. We don't mind putting the work in, but
if it's something to work for.
It's something to work for.
Come on,
wait a minute. You pull back the cap. Wait. Let's talk about the word value.
Come on, sir.
Real quick, like, all right. Let me tell you ladies something. You ladies are born with it.
Yes.
You have it. And the longest you don't give it away to people who aren't deserving of it, your cap and your ceiling is high.
Yep.
Right? As long as you don't present it in a way where it's easily accessible to those vultures who want to just take piece of it, your cap and your ceiling is high. Men, guess what? We not born without value. We got to go get it.
We got to go work for it.
Mm-hmm.
So women who are looking for the right man, guess what? He working. He ain't out there. Well, you can.
He's not low.
And neither should you, because you should be hiding your goods in the storefront. so that not all the vultures and all the rats and all the roaches and all the vermin can come and get a piece of it. That's all you're seeing out there anyway.
Yep.
That's what's on the streets. And then you want to talk about that's the majority. No, you just in the wrong place. Men, you just not putting your head down and getting to where you need to go. Matter of fact, I say it all the time. You don't fit in until you get to where you're going. Right? Why you ain't seen the lady that you want yet and you're around the low-hanging fruit all the time? Because you ain't spending time working. Nope. You're not spending the time getting in the right place. You're not getting time getting the right mind frame. You're not getting your money up. You're not getting your spiritual growth up. You're not actually putting work inside your human body. Just as much as you need to pray, and as much as you need to fast, as much as you need to work out, as much as you need to add more information to you that's actually progressive. Those things are like lost arts.
It's almost like they're locked. Y'all know when you play a game and you haven't reached a certain amount of achievements and for the character, what character you want, and you have to stick with this raggedy beginner one player, and you're like, oh, I gotta work to get what I want.
It's a process, and you can't skip the process to get.
Listen, I'm an all-star player. Give me the boss fight. I want the final boss. I'm not looking for the first little minion on the road. Neither am I trying to be the player that's always losing every single time I step in the game.
I'm gonna tell you this too, man. I'm gonna tell you this too. Go ahead, Kiki. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kiki.
That's a quick thing. What Sonny was saying was so true, but Sonny said something so sad, and what he said, the same on us women for whatever is the same society that tells me we are all born with value. Just because women are born with vaginas, that means that y'all men are born valueless. Y'all have to work to get y'all value. Like it's there,
but that's not really. I get what you're saying, but that's more biblical than anything. That's a theological implication, because that was part of what God told Adam and told the man we would be cursed, that we would have to till the ground all the days of our lives, right? We would have to go out there and earn. We would have to get it. We would sweat from the sweat of our brow, right? So we have to go out there. We have to earn everything. So that value, look, before God gave, y'all heard me say this a few weeks ago, I think, before God gave Adam Eve, he gave him a home, right? He gave him a job. He gave him a relationship with him. He gave him all these things. But guess what? God gave that to Adam initially. God said, I ain't giving it to you no more. Now you got to go earn. What is one of the most valuable things to a wife? Her home.
Her home.
Yeah.
Because that's what
and
she
her
raised
children, if she has any.
Right? That's one of the most valuable things that gives a wife her validity, if you will, or her something for her to thrive in, right? And so that thing that's valuable to her, how she's able to nurture and care for her home, right? A man got to give that to her. It's not going to be given to us, and that's where that value comes in. You know, it's what kind of livelihood is he making? And you know that's true, man. You wouldn't go for a guy who was out here that don't have his own and want to come live in your house.
But this the thing. But they say
past life.
Past life. Why? Because you don't have to put no work in. You can control everything.
But okay, can I ask a question, y'all black men? Why is it talked about is the things that y'all can give to us? Like, why can't stuff that's in y'all? Why is when y'all talk about value, it's always things to give to other people? I think that's
what we are.
They're doers. We have
to have something as a man. Okay, put it like this: if women weren't on planet Earth, we still have to do the same thing. We still have to have something for ourselves. We still have to have things for us, whether y'all here or not. But that's why.
But because that's what y'all want, like you're trying to attain.
Yes, any good man, I would say, and all men have it. All men have it in them. It's just the good man go find it. But that's why, because like he said, if we didn't have that, a woman wouldn't
care for
they
us,
wouldn't really.
man, really.
And then that's why you say, well, you have women have this mindset on, I pay all my bills, I got my own crib, I don't really need a man. And it's like, well,
But you need it for something. Though.
Who is preaching that narrative still?
more,
You'll be
home
surprised.
can be more.
Look, currently, I have my own, right? I have my own.
So you don't need no
job,
so
house, my own, right? Yes, I am the independent Black woman. Doesn't mean that I don't want a man to come.
But
and
do you know that
supplement.
you're doing the man, like a man's supposed to do that?
Yeah.
A man's supposed to do.
A man is supposed
What
to
man?
buy. I'm saying
yes,
a man,
until that man comes and sits in that place. But until then, Trent, I have to do what I have to do.
Yeah, but when you also have to allow that to have a man to
absolutely.
Why do we have to put the nomenclature independent Black woman? Why can't we just all be adults and we handle our business?
Come on. What? So much unnecessary stigma, right? You're an adult. You're no longer a child. So what? You got responsibilities, so you handle them.
Right.
That's all it should be. But whenever you get into a communion with somebody, now those responsibilities are balanced. They're added out. You go and you work on your strengths, and this man works on his strengths. But I'm not trying to go down there. Kiana, I need you to say again what you said. I am going to answer your question.
The one
it was about
the value.
You forgot it. You forgot it.
The value.
Why is it? Why do y'all men only measure y'all value on external? You can things that you give other things that y'all view according to what y'all can give to women materialistically. Ain't about women being materialistic, but then on the other hand, how much work in the internal as y'all are putting the work, because if the only value you have is your money, and the only value, then I'm gonna give you this vagina, and you're gonna give me your value, which is your money. So that's where this whole thing is.
Answer that, Sonny.
Sonny, go ahead. Go ahead. It's not too, Kiana. That's a valid question. You just said something. We don't make the marketplace. Men don't. Men don't equate value to the amount of money we can amass. That's what women say that we're valuable as. Matter of fact, you won't take the broke guy.
Yes.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
It's not all external, because the truth of the matter is men's value is more than their pocketbook, their stability, their strength, their safety. You got to realize value is gained by the experiences that the man has and the more tools he puts in his belt. So the truth of the matter is the real value of a man is exponentially greater than his pocketbook. But what the women look at and what the women broadcast first is the pocketbook. So you know what comes out first? The pocketbook. And before you say, Taylor, who's saying that? That's the whole masses of women that's in front of media. That's the whole masses of women that these young women that's continuing to be out here and be free and fruitful, but no multiplication. Like that's all of that.
Ooh, let me interject for 2 seconds. I just saw a Facebook post that said, "I don't want you to hug me. Cash out me $350. I just saw that today. He was like, I don't want a man's security. You can just cash out me $350. The repost on
in that same entity, that same woman turn right back around and be like, dang, I'm very lonely. What do you think?
Yeah.
Why do you think you are?
You think you're lonely now? Wait until the night.
But that's the thing.
But hear what I said, because I think you got this from what I said about the Adam and what God provided Adam with. And it wasn't necessarily about the home, because the first place that Adam had was a garden. That's the first place he was outside, right? It wasn't about the actual home. It was about the safety. It was about the stability. It was about the comfort. It was about the protection, right?
Yeah.
Those intangible things that comes, that's what's valuable for a man, right? That is the essence of man. Why is that? Because God gave man dominion, right? And so that is the value of man. So watch this. Here's the assault. This is how the enemy assaults the character of the man. He tries to steal dominion from him. When a man is castrated, when a man's power is taken or diminished, he loses the very essence of who God made him to be, i.e., he loses his value. That's why there's so many men walking around here castrated, because women have manipulated the man, or these men, or these weak henpicked men, and diminish their power. And sooner or later they got to let something fall, and because we got to get back into our glory and essence of what God created us to be. That's what the true problem is.
I think Sonny said it.
We're no longer walking in power. We're walking around in fear.
Yeah, Sonny said it. I think he said it like a couple weeks back. Women are better sellers than men. Like, it's easier for a woman to sell at a crazier pace than a man. Like, y'all can do it better for some reason.
We have that essence, that influence. We have over that.
We have the art of persuasion.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
We have the art of persuasion.
Absolutely.
Can I say it this way? Because I don't even want to bring persuasion into it, right?
It's not persuasion's not bad.
It's not. You're the most sought after thing in the marketplace. Why? Because you give me life and life after me.
Come on.
You're the most valuable thing in the marketplace, and the one thing that we will covet over, because whenever we give you something, you incubate it. So if I have just a little bit of something and I give it to this woman of mine, it's going to grow exponentially. See, the truth of the matter is, yes, we're hunters, but at the same time, we're still harvesters. We're still cultivators. And if we have barren ground and nowhere to lay seed, and I'm not just talking about children. You got to think about this. There's something inside these young men, and this is prophetic. I want people to hear this. There's a lot inside of these young men that have absolutely become castrated because of the system in society. There's a bunch of things inside these young men that needs to grow, not just for the next generation, not just for the men's society and the gender, but needs to grow for human safety, for our existence, very much. Right? We have to be able to learn, or be able to put back out there, that men and women can actually work together again. Because the narrative right now is we can't. The narrative right now is get over on them. The narrative right now is we're castrated, or we're bonded. It's a matriarchy or a patriarchy. It's this, it's that, and everything is about discourse. And there's no recourse. Inside these young men is our future. And so far, this, as much as the women want to get freedom and their own liberties, these young men, I'm trying to tell you, that man wasn't lying to you. These young men are crying out for somebody who can be their, not even leader. They need a mentor. They need a mentor.
Discipline.
We need structure. We don't know where to go. There's very little good information out here. There's very little stuff. It's crazy right now to know that my son, your son, a lot of these other children right now are in an ecosystem that tells them that not only are you the victim, you're the bottom of the totem pole, and you're only worth what someone else says you're worth. You'll be lucky if you get any type of affection outside of your family, if you don't learn to be at a peaceable place of posture with money, or if you're out here and you only entertain low hanging fruit. A lot of these young men think the only way they're going to get a piece of tail is if they chase the cat.
Yes,
A lot, of
sir.
these, a lot of these young men think the only way that they're going to get the attention of a woman is to pay for their meal. A lot of these men, they get away from actually trying to build themselves into strength, build themselves into good morals, build themselves into something, and they sell themselves short.
Yes.
Sell themselves short.
We all sell it.
Yep.
Just for the very thing that is coveted that won't allow them to actually move forward like it's supposed to.
And
Wow.
then that creates, piggybacking on what Sonny said, to a young male or even peers of my generation, to a man, they'll take that in as, dang, if I ain't got enough money to cash up this girl that I want, I may not be able to pursue her. I may not be able to get.
I can't.
He may
keep this
really want this particular girl right here, but she is coming at him at left field, and he may not be in a situation to do that or whatever have you. To a man, that's what's the word I'm trying to say? That's draining. He's not gonna say it, but
can I say this? Throw some salt in that game.
Yes,
let's just be real. And it happened. It happened to me. I'm gonna be real. There's a person that told me I couldn't even talk to them before dropping something in their cash app. You know what I did? I laughed and politely deleted that particular person because I understood that I am much above the barrier that you put me at, or that you were willing to respect me at, which is disrespect. And vice versa. I've seen some guys who only say, and they, like I said, it's all in the game for everybody. Hey, if you don't give me that box, there's no reason for us to communicate.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. That is
And
true.
you know what the problem is? The problem is we done inflated this society so bad. I mean, the money bad, y'all. Let's be real. Cat has very little value. Dollars don't really make sense anymore. The going rate used to be 40. Now they want, a flight out, a couple meals, and a little social media attention. Like, all we have really done is just make a capitalist move on sex and on appeal, instead of making a capital move on community and actually communion under the guise of God.
Talk, man.
And
that's a word.
That is marriage. You just brought it all the way back, my boy.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Is we stop. I remember when running track, or even running the 40, for combines and all that stuff like that. They always tell you to run through the finish line. You don't run to the finish line. You run through the finish line, right?
Yeah.
When even in fighting, when I punch, when I strike, I'm striking through my target. I'm not trying to hit my target. I'm trying to strike through the target, right? Try past it. Like if I'm punching you in the face, I'm trying to touch the back of your skull, right? So we stop. We aim at the wrong mark. And our culture has shaped the narrative to where sex is a conquering. And it's like, and I've actually had women tell me this. They felt like they had to conquer me, right? And that's the true prize. Not a ring on her finger, or not me putting a ring on her finger, but we think sex is the end game, which actually sex is supposed to be the beginning of the game.
Yes, sir.
Because that's when the marriage is consummated. That's when the covenant is sealed. That's when the two become one. So we stop before we get there, man, and we end up selling ourselves short. Because the Bible says it this way: he who findeth the wife findeth a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. If we want favor as men, it comes to how we honor that woman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Unplugged.
This has been Growth Groove.
Well, you ended it right there.
Unplugged.
I like that ending. That was
Y'all see, I didn't say nothing this time. It wasn't me. It was my counterpart.
Well, you did drop it in the message. So you did.
Yeah, you did.
You
I
did.
didn't say growth through my plug.
Oh,
That's
no,
my
you
line.
didn't.
Well, that's your
Touche.
line first, and then it's mine.
season 3, baby.
Touche. All right, closing remarks, y'all.
Did we already?
Ooh, you touched on so many things. Okay.
Yeah, we touched on
The topic
sex,
was 6 before marriage, right?
we touched
Yeah.
on, huh?
The topic was 6 before marriage, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also touched
Yeah,
on
vaguely out there.
I'm just gonna
Well,
put it out in the pot of gumbo. You wanna go first? Or you wanna...
Taylor goes first.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tay.
Yeah. You go first. Yeah.
Tay, do it up to it.
Respect.
Aria.
I think that holds all of the coins, that holds all of the everything that has been said tonight. It's all about respect. I won't disrespect you. Please don't disrespect me. Thus, if we don't disrespect each other, we're not disrespecting God. Also, and I used to get upset as a kid or when I was younger when people would say you're not respecting yourself by how you would dress, or you're not respecting yourself by how like you carry yourself. And I always got confused by that, because I was like, how am I disrespecting myself? Like, I know I look good, like I know what I put on this morning. But as I get older, I understand it a little bit more, especially now, because for me, it's like I feel like I am in the season of wife, like prepare, like that Esther stage of like preparing myself with whatever the process is, like that's the preparation that I'm mentally preparing for. And I think it is about presenting yourself as such, that's not necessarily saying I have to change who I am. That's not saying I have to change my character. That's not saying that I have to change my personality, because Taylor's staying regardless, but in preparation of becoming a wife or becoming a significant other, becoming an addendum, a counterpart, right? It's preparation, and I have to start carrying myself accordingly and being open and willing to mold myself, even if it's uncomfortable. And molding is always uncomfortable, like we never
Growth is never comfortable.
yeah, molding hurts. And I've had this conversation, and I've had it so much that I'm pretty sure at this point I'm preaching to myself, because molding is the removing of things and the morphing of clay that was a brick, and now it's turning into a fine piece of art, right? And it's uncomfortable for the creator, but it's also uncomfortable for the piece, But at the end of the day, knowing that I trust my creator, that he's going to make something beautiful, and that he has already made something beautiful, like I just have to trust the process. So I'm in a molding phase. Tonight was a really interesting conversation for me. That's why, like, after a while, I had to just sit back and just let y'all talk, because I was like, all right. But yeah, tonight was good though.
Awesome. Growth is never comfortable, and the truth of the matter is, you talked about respect, and that respect goes, it's earned, right? We have to earn respect from ourselves. I remember sometimes I do something and I'll be like, you know what? I did a good job on that. And then other times I'll be like, bro, what was you thinking? Like you try scratch that and start over, And so I think we learn from ourselves too, and we have to be honest with ourselves at no matter how popular it is, but that respect comes with how I earn it from myself, if
Right.
you will. Nobody's gonna treat me better than I treat myself. And if I want something to be
Ideally.
standard for me, ideally, if
Right.
I want something to be a standard for me, I have to do it for me first before I can
Right.
expect it from somebody else.
And hold everybody else accountable.
That part.
Yep.
I
But that's why
appreciate
this is growth group, so we can grow and
together in a group.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the siblings on.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to go first? Or you want me to
You're the
start?
guest, so you probably should do
Oh, okay. All right. In closing, we touched on a lot of things today. But I'm just gonna try to like touch the women and men. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the men first. Don't fight yourself because you will lose. It's your choice. Accept yourself, learn yourself, and be okay with your flaws. 5 things a man should have before he finds his wife. The presence of God. That's the first thing. We as men, as a culture as a whole, we don't really give God his true coins like we supposed to. So, men, that may be why you are having such a hard, rugged road finding your way or finding the things that are meant and near and dear to you. 2, you got to work, got to have some type of stability. 3, cultivate maximum potential. If you don't know how to cultivate things that you're supposed to know how to cultivate, how do you expect to move? I'm talking to the men right now.
Or even expect the relationship to grow.
How do you expect a relationship? You know what I'm saying? God creates a woman from raw material. So the woman that is in your head, hold on one second. The woman that is in your head, that it's there for a reason. That is what you should be cultivating as well. And also when you do find your wife, after you've done the first 4 things, teach her the word. Both of y'all get close to God. I feel like that is a thing that is not
broadcast that at all.
Fluid in a relationship anymore. Teach
Bro,
both
I thought you was about to say it, man. I thought you was about to say it and you pulled back. Man, this is the true essence of foreplay. Like this is what foreplay should be. It should be men, us doing the work, women doing the work, and when we find each other working and we come into covenant with God, that's the true foreplay.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing more sexy. There's nothing more attractive. There's nothing more delightful, man. That you said a mouthful, man, and I don't even think if you knew what you were really saying, but bro.
No, I look like I was trying, but my last thing that I said was, I know the topic today was sex before marriage. Yeah. Sex is only a fraction of the whole, but God and doing things together is more valuable than that. Is more whole and more valuable than that. I'm done. I'm done after that.
So all right. Women, well, he talked for you too. So.
Go ahead, sis.
No, you took her time.
Look, you see, I ain't say nothing. I was like, go ahead.
That boy came through, man. That was powerful. That was powerful. That was powerful. That was powerful.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Doesn't have to be me.
You had me at cultivate though. You had me at cultivate.
Man, that's like I had to learn from a good friend, couple friends that I didn't understand what that meant either until it was brought to me, and I was like, well, what is that? And that's like a distinguishing quality that every man has to have or needs to have, I should say. So
because truth be told, I don't care how independent a woman is, or how much she has had to fend for herself. Women thrive in their femininity, right? So she also wants to grow. She also wants to learn. But if we haven't grown anything, and watch this, we haven't even grown up. If we hadn't even grown up, we can't grow nothing.
yes, sir.
So we can't expect anything to grow from it. Man. All right, Trey.
I don't know how to follow up, but I will say, when you understand who created you, you'll understand who you are and who you're created for. That's what I feel. I feel if you don't understand, I'm sorry, I'm reading long stuff. If you don't understand who put you here and the person that you think you're supposed to be with, if you don't understand that relationship and that agreement first, nothing will quite make sense up until you do understand the agreement, if that makes sense. If you don't have the agreement, everything will be in like a disarray. Like nothing, you'll always be confused. Until you understand that it doesn't matter what you're wearing. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. It's more about who you're doing it for. You're not marrying someone for the whole world to see. You're marrying someone who thinks like you, who's for him. You're marrying each other for him, right? You're marrying each other in, what's it called? I want to say in essence of him, but like not essence. That's not the word, but I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Complementary of. Complementary of.
Yes. You don't when you get married, they don't say there's a reason why the Bible's there. Like you're like the whole world's not there while you're getting married. He's there. So that having him in the forefront always, even the preparation up until you find the person or they find you or whatever have you, then I think everything would be more fluid and it would make more sense. And men and women wouldn't have to work tirelessly, and it would be easy if you just let him do what he said he'd do for you. I think that's what. So.
Awesome. Thank you. What happened?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Plug community. Let me tell you what they be doing behind the background. So they don't never pick my topics on the board, but then when they do, and then they be like, nah, we ain't gonna do that. And then I get another topic, and then we talk. They be doing me wrong backstage. Nah, friend, shut up. Y'all don't have topics on the wheel. They do me wrong, y'all. But then y'all see my topic. What else?
Freaky y'all.
Thing. How y'all gonna say freaky? Y'all the main one locking a nigga up. Second thing I'll play now with the Bible and the Word. Third thing, I'm mad at myself for how this conversation went because I got on the defenses. I automatically get on the defenses when topics come up and women things because I'm always under the impression of if me and if society is bad, then why do men blame other people? Not right, but that's neither here nor there. We had a talk more about like Taylor avenue of it, the getting to love, actively love somebody else aspect of it, the the how this whole conversation went. This whole conversation is indicative of what happens in the church because y'all spend a lot of y'all time telling women things and women defending those things instead of like Sonny said, come together for a solution. Like y'all, we can tell y'all how y'all wrong all the time, but at the beginning of this conversation, everybody's hand was raised in the chat about how none of us were effectively taught the lesson of sex and relationships. I was just told don't do it. So I wish that we would have spent more effectively talking about good relationships and how our relationships should look, the right way of doing things instead of blaming each other for how we've been doing things wrong. That's it.
Sounds like a part 2.
Put it on the wheel.
Oh man. All right, man. My guy.
Yes, sir, brother. It was a long haul, and I'm gonna real quick. I'm not gonna allow Kiki to unrightfully and unjustly convict us for that because 4 of her topics already been talked about. But we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that. They have.
Yo.
They have been.
Yeah, man. What more can you say? It's one of the most taboo topics that you can ever get into. Yeah, it's some of the most needed. You know, I really truly feel though, and I understand everybody's plight because nobody wants to be considered incorrect. Also, nobody wants to be, men or women want to be the person who is the issue. But when we realize that the fact of the matter, we have played into the issue the whole time because we got away from the actual axis of where it should have been, which is underneath God and by God's standard. We've fallen far from the tree. But I'm excited to know that it's not for naught because just as much as we've run away, that's as much potential, that's as much energy that's going to be present for us to be brought back to God the right way, be brought back to each other in the proper way. I'm a firm believer that we're going to start seeing real love again. I'm a firm believer that we're going to start seeing true communion in marriages. I'm a firm believer that in sometime soon there's going to start being safe dating, right? I don't think it's all bleak. I think that we've taken our time in the wilderness with this, and it's time out to give the improper idolization to things that are the farthest from state, right? The things that are farthest from structure, the things that are farthest from standard. If it's not a foundation you can lay your house on, Don't give it the attention. Don't associate yourself with it, and don't begin to act out as a representative of it. And I feel if we do that, if we're intentional in doing that, we'll start to see ourselves um, as these beings who do have a sexual appetite, be much more cautious and much more careful of giving it up before an expected time. You know, so um, very, very gracious for the conversation tonight and everything that was added. Uh,
Hey man, boy, you said a mouthful, man. It's funny how we try to discipline ourselves with our appetites to lose weight,
mm,
uh, or we'll go to strict diets, strict organic food, or we'll go to become vegans and pescatarians and vegetarians and all this stuff like that. But yet we won't ever tackle our sexual appetite,
right.
um, our sexual diet. Um, let me say this, and I'm gonna sum this up in one word: healing. We need to heal because oftentimes when there's pain present, whether it's the residuals of somebody else's pain, whether it's lived or experienced pain, um, we lose a part of our value or our self-worth because the
Mm,
pain sometimes overshadows the true essence of our nature, right?
hmm.
um, and I'll say this from a standpoint of men: we have to be stronger, we have to be better, we have to be wiser, we have to be more loving, um, because and I'll be the first to say it, man. I'll scroll down my Instagram feed and I'll see all of these different pictures and all these where you can scroll down and you can count 10, 15 BBLs, right?
Yeah.
I'll like it. I'll put a heart on it or what a double tap. But truth be told, would I marry one of them? No, right? It's we can be honest. It's fun to look at, right? They're beautiful pictures. But some of the stuff I see that I might double tap on, I wouldn't even want to date because there's nothing for me.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no exclusivity there. It's for everybody. So that just diminishes the pact or the commitment that we should have to each other when there's no value placed on, like you said, that communion, that community, that coming together. There's no, as Trey said, there's no cultivation, man. There's no cultivating. And so I think that a lot of times because of our self-worth, we haven't, like Taylor said, we haven't learned to respect ourselves. Those types of validations give us a false sense of hope, false sense of belonging, false sense of worth. And that's the total opposite, bro. And so that's why I said healing. Um, we need to get back to God and we need to heal. We need to heal from everybody who's hurt us. We need to heal from everybody who's used us. We need to heal from everybody who's assaulted us. We need to heal from everybody who's harassed us. And hear this: I'm not telling us when you should be done healing. I'm not telling us how to heal. I'm saying that we need to put the work in to heal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's Growth Group Unplugged, episode 307. It's been a long night. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you for joining us on tonight. Trust and pray you have a great rest of the week. This has been Growth Group Unplugged for this Tuesday evening, September the 20th, 2022. Remember, love ain't love until it's shown. So get out there and let's share God's love. We bring the council back in. Everybody say good night. And we'll get out of here. We'll see y'all back here next same time, same place, in the same space.
Same space. Growth Group Unplugged.
Unplugged.
Good night.
Good
If
night,
you haven't
everybody.
show love, show.
What?
Love
night,
ain't
y'all.
show. Love to show to a show. Isn't that what he said?
Yep.
Yikes.